What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
The optimal strategy for dealing with the labyrinth should have been to use skill absorption instead of organic domination. But Vega, caught up in his excitement, ignored the logical approach. In his eagerness to flaunt his power to Dino and the others, he unleashed everything he had without following the usual cautious steps. Normally, he restrained himself to conserve energy, but this time, he wanted to prove his worth. Acting on pure instinct, Vega bit into the labyrinth.
Wait, what's going on? This feels different from before.
Something had changed. The reaction wasn't the usual inorganic resistance he had encountered before.
Hold on, is this actually working? No way, this is going to work.
A surge of joy overtook him. His ultimate skill, Evil Dragon King Azidahaka, allowed him to absorb organic matter and create countless replicas of himself, provided they remained connected to the earth. But what would happen if this power was applied to Ramiris's labyrinth? The results were astonishing. While the skill couldn't absorb the labyrinth's imaginary matter, it began drawing energy directly from its natural surroundings. The labyrinth merged with the environment, allowing Vega to tap into it. This fusion triggered infinite regeneration, unlocking the true potential of Evil Dragon King Azidahaka. The side effects were catastrophic. Draining energy from the environment caused it to wither and die. Forests would rot, rivers would dry up, and the land itself would collapse into ruin. Vega, oblivious to the destruction, reveled in his newfound power. Even if he were aware, it's doubtful he would have cared. What mattered to him were the possibilities this power opened up. If Vega succeeded in assimilating Ramiris's labyrinth, he would gain control over it. This meant inheriting Ramiris's labyrinth creation, a divine-level authority far beyond human comprehension. Vega's reckless actions were leading him down a path of destruction, one that could spell catastrophic consequences. But oblivious to the dangers, he pressed on without hesitation.
I feel unstoppable. This labyrinth's energy is mine to take. Even if I can't fully control it, I'll never lose at this rate.
With an endless flow of energy coursing through him, Vega felt invincible. Ideally, he would strip the labyrinth of its power entirely. But even if that proved impossible, simply draining it dry would bring about its collapse. Without the labyrinth's protection, the enemy would lose their advantage. Panic would set in, and their escape routes would vanish, leaving them vulnerable. In reality, this was a situation that should have been left in Feldway's hands, but Vega wasn't about to step aside.
Once I control this labyrinth, there's no way I'm letting anyone escape.
His confidence soared. The labyrinth, once hailed as invincible, was no longer a threat in his eyes. Vega believed he'd found the key to its downfall, and the fact that it was his own ingenuity only added to his arrogance. To him, it felt like he'd stripped the enemy of their immortality. Dino and his team, however, remained wary of the labyrinth's dangers. But Vega, drunk on his own power, couldn't take their concerns seriously. He imagined himself rising above them all, basking in a sweet and satisfying victory. The greater the labyrinth's threat, the more thrilling it would be to crush it under his control.
I'll do it. I'll show them my strength and obliterate this labyrinth in one decisive victory.
To Vega, neutralizing the labyrinth's power meant total domination. Even if complete control wasn't achievable, his newfound invincibility made defeat unthinkable. Fueled by his delusions of grandeur, Vega pushed his invasion forward with renewed determination, relishing the thought of his triumph. Meanwhile, Dino and the rest of the group were focused on navigating the labyrinth, reluctantly letting Vega take the lead. The truth? None of them actually believed Vega's plan would work. Their primary concern was escaping the labyrinth as quickly as possible, leaving Vega to chase his misguided dreams of conquest.
You fool. I never expected much from you, but if you could just make my life easier, maybe I'd start relying on you a little.
Despite Dino's repeated attempts, Vega still hadn't unleashed the so-called evil dragon spawn. While his reasoning might make sense to him, it didn't make things any less frustrating. Then there was Zijin, someone Dino would rather avoid entirely. Attacking the labyrinth was out of the question. He couldn't run either, not with Feldway pulling the strings. Worse, he had an appointment with Rimuru. Dino couldn't afford to act recklessly and was forced to play along, though he hoped Rimuru's mood might spare him from a harsh judgment.
Ah, this is such a pain.
Dino silently cursed his circumstances. Whether Vega conquered the labyrinth or not, it wasn't Dino's concern. The same went for Pico and Gracia, they didn't seem invested either. Mai, on the other hand, was harder to read. Dino had no idea where her loyalties truly lay, though his instincts told him she wasn't fully on Feldway's side. And Dino's instincts were rarely wrong. Still, escape was out of the question. All Dino could do was sigh and resign himself to following Vega's lead, hoping Rimuru might forgive his complaints later.
He's seriously getting on my nerves. Who does he think he is?
Right, ordering me around like he's some big shot. I can't stand it.
Then why listen to him? Dino,
I don't have a choice. Feldway's got us all on a leash.
can't you get rid of him somehow?
If we could, don't you think we'd have done it by now?
Yeah, if only it were that easy.
No one was happy with Vega's attitude, but Feldway's control over them was far worse. As long as Pico and Gracia were bound by their angelic ultimate skills, escaping Feldway's domination was impossible. It would be a different story if they had an alternative, but the cold truth was that there wasn't one. Finally, Dino turned his attention to Mai, the one outlier in their group.
Mai, your power isn't angelic. You're not under Feldway's control, right?
Indeed, Mai's abilities were nothing like those of an angel.
What?
Mai's eyes widened in surprise, clearly caught off guard by the sudden attention. Then, breaking from her usual composure, she quickly dismissed the idea.
I was granted alternative by Michael-sama.
She explained.
He said I could resist his orders with willpower, but when I'm commanded, it feels like I don't have a choice. It's all in my head.
Dino, ever the opportunist, wasn't one to do the heavy lifting himself. Instead, he had a knack for persuading others to do it for him. This time, his target was Mai.
You'll save us.
Yes, Mai. Exactly, Mai. Let's get out of here. No more following their orders.
Even Gracia chimed in, throwing in the idea that they could escape to another dimension. Mai, unaccustomed to receiving such flattery, looked flustered. She lacked confidence in her abilities and felt disheartened by her limitations. The thought of seeing her beloved brother was a distant dream, as crossing the dimensional barrier seemed impossible. Mai had resigned herself to this reality long before their current struggle began.
You've got to believe in yourself more.
Dino urged, attempting to encourage her.
I mean, your instantaneous movement is incredible. If I'm not careful, I'd never be able to keep up with you.
That's right, Mai. If you really want to, just blow Feldway away. Or just get far enough where he can't control you. We're counting on you.
Pico and Gracia jumped in with increasingly absurd suggestions. Despite the ridiculousness, their words brought Mai an unexpected sense of comfort. For a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a life free from Feldway's control.
There's no way that's possible.
Mai said with a soft laugh. Despite her modest response, a small spark of optimism began to flicker deep inside her. As the group bonded with Mai and took down the swarm of bugs, their camaraderie grew. Just as things seemed to settle, a loud, gleeful voice echoed through the room.
Ohu, Dino-chan, you're going to regret betraying me last time.
It was Ramiris, laughing maniacally. Her mischievous grin hinted at the chaos she was about to unleash. At last, Ramiris's wrathful presence loomed closer, and her wicked plans began to unfold around Dino and his group. The atmosphere grew tense as Ramiris's high-pitched laughter echoed through the room. Moments later, Beretta, Zijin, Apito, Kumara, and Ranga appeared, 5 warriors assigned to intercept Dino and his group.
Damn it, I knew you'd show up.
Dino muttered, glaring at Zijin. The urge to escape was strong, but it was clear Ramiris wasn't about to let that happen. In fact, she had no plans to let any of them leave. Once Vega and Dino had moved far enough away from her position, Ramiris decided it was time to set her plan in motion. To be precise, Dino and his group were secondary targets. The real focus was Mai. Ramiris's goal was to trap Vega and take him out while keeping Mai locked inside the labyrinth. Even if Vega managed to resist, she was determined to ensure he couldn't escape using isolation. Ramiris's image suddenly appeared in front of Dino, a highly detailed, 3-dimensional hologram. Dino grimaced, unable to hide his distaste for her flashy theatrics.
Ramiris sure knows how to overdo it in the weirdest ways.
He let out a heavy sigh before shouting in frustration.
You used that golem to mess with us earlier, didn't you? Doesn't a righteous demon lord have any limits?
Dino's sarcasm was biting as he threw the term righteous demon lord at Ramiris, a label he'd never bothered with before. He had been pushing himself to his limits ever since entering the labyrinth, and the mounting pressure was starting to weigh on him. Dino was brimming with frustration, barely holding back his anger. Meanwhile, Ramiris seemed completely unfazed, her tone deliberately taunting as she addressed him.
What's got you so worked up? It's just a little greeting. Now's the perfect time for my revenge.
Dino, clearly at his limit, took a deep breath and decided to try reasoning with her.
Come on, Ramiris-san. We're on the same side, aren't we?
He swallowed his pride, his voice tinged with desperation. But Ramiris wasn't about to be swayed. She let out a dismissive, Before dropping her next bombshell.
I had 5 opponents ready for your group since there were 5 of you. But now there's only 1 left. So, Dino-chan, why don't you play with Beretta and Zijin?
Dino froze as the words sank in. When it finally hit him, he erupted in disbelief.
You've got to be kidding me, you fool. There's no way we can win against them.
His shout reverberated through the labyrinth, fueled by frustration. After taking a moment to collect himself, Dino tried a different approach, hoping negotiation might save him.
Alright, if I have to fight 2 opponents, how about you give me another ally?
No.
Ramiris rejected the idea without hesitation.
No, you can't. Think it through. So, who's fighting who now?
Before Dino could argue further, Ramiris had already decided the matchups. Pico would face Kumara, Gracia was paired with Ranga, and Mai was set to fight Apito. Dino realized he wasn't even being considered in these arrangements, and panic started to creep in. Knowing the odds were stacked against him, Dino scrambled to come up with a new plan.
Hold on. How about this? We make it a point-scoring game. We fight 1-on-1, and whoever gets the most points wins. What do you think?
Desperation laced his voice as he proposed the idea. If he could somehow manipulate the rules, he might avoid fighting both Beretta and Zijin at the same time or, at the very least, stall for time. Their mission was to buy time for Vega to infiltrate the labyrinth, and Dino knew they had to hold out no matter what. The plan served 2 purposes, making it a win-win for him if it worked.
Man, I'm a genius.
Dino couldn't help but feel a swell of pride over his own clever thinking. But it was a risky gamble. If things devolved into a fight now, Dino and his team were almost guaranteed to lose. He was painfully aware of that fact, and the thought filled him with dread.
Let's be real. Against those 2, we wouldn't last more than a few minutes.
Dino reasoned that if he only had to face Beretta, he could manage.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Nissa L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Day of Light, John M., Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, T. Bush, Kirisoto Sama, JV, Thomas, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy 98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Nate, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Sky T, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Gobi Lin, Pratik Bandari, Faiz Mansour, Jackson Early, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Akshay Devate, Elvin Quarty, Ian Sikibiol, Thana Cornley Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Joshua Wolf. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.